Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's video, we'll be trying to make what we currently see on the screen. So this is basically plotting the reciprocal function. So pretty straightforward sketch for today. So the reciprocal function is basically the x 1 over x or n over x, right? So in our example here that we have, I'm doing, so the first one, the closest one to the middle, right? Both of these is 1 over the x value, but the x value is mapped between -1 and 1. And as we go further down, further from the middle of the canvas, from the middle of the screen right now, it's n being bigger, right? So n being, in this example, n would be 1, right? So n over x. So that's the reciprocal function. So let me remove everything I've done previously, and we will basically go on the whiteboard, explain it. It's pretty straightforward, just like I said. I'll be only keeping color palettes. We'll be doing it in white anyway on first time on, and then we'll be using the palette. Great. Okay. There we go. Let me take a pen and a little sip. Oh, great. So think of a Cartesian plane, right? Which goes to -1 to 1, and here it basically goes. Well, I'm using the width, the height of the canvas, but let's say for the sake of the example, let's say -1 here and 1 here, right? So this is our Cartesian plane, right? So we have 0, 0 over here in the middle. Great. So what the reciprocal tells us is that this would be x and this would be y, right? Right. So the function is basically taking x in per meter and is returning the y value. So y equals the function of x, which the function is, so x could be any value between -1 and 1 for the sake of our sketch. And what we do is we do 1 over x, right? So that's basically the reciprocal. Which gives us a plot like this. And when x is 0, then we're just not going to call this function because we cannot divide. We would get an error trying to divide by 0. That makes sense, right? So we get something that looks like this, right? Well, it's not not the best drawing. So basically what we'll do is we'll do a for loop that goes from 0 to the width, and we will map this to, let's say, const value, mapping the x value to -1, which goes between 0 and the width, to -1 and 1. And then if x is not 0, we'll be drawing, we'll be calling a function which receives x in per meter and return the y, and we'll be plotting the y in. For the beginning, we'll just do points, right? So we'll make a point wherever this tells us to make it, right? At the specific x value that we have. After that, I want to use a begin shape and end shape to draw the line instead of a point. And eventually we'll have two begin and end shape, as we're going to separate the x loop that goes from 0 to width in between two loops, which skips over, oh, and sorry, never mind, not x going from 0 to width, but x going from minus width divided by 2 to width divided by 2. eventually we'll be splitting that into 2 for loops. One that goes up to 0, not including 0, and one that goes up to width divided by 2, not including 0, basically. So that's the goal. And then eventually after that, we can make this into a function, or just make a loop around all of this that draws these. And we can pass a denominator to this function, right? So the function will look something more like n x, right? So it would receive n and x. So the denominator would be here, right? So, and that would make it look like this, right? So on and so forth. So that's the goal of today. Hopefully we can make it under, right now we're already at 6 minutes, so I'm going to go pretty fast on everything. So hopefully you follow this along. You can change you can always rewind the video, but hopefully I want to make it under 20 minutes. We're already at 6 minutes. So let's create the reciprocal function. So function reciprocal receives x, like we said, and it would just return right away 1 divided by x. Awesome, great. So now here we want to do a for loop for let x equals minus width divided by 2. X is less than width divided by 2. X plus plus. And then we'll need the value, const value. And we can do here, we can do if x is equal to 0, then we can just continue to the next continue to the next x. Great. So now the value should be equal to your reciprocal function passing x, but no, sorry, y should equal this. But I don't want to pass y. Like I said, I want to pass some mapping of x that goes between minus width divided by 2 to width divided by 2, and map that to minus 1 to 1, right? So const mapped will be equal to map x that goes between, like we said, this value to width divided by 2 to minus 1 and 1. And we will translate everything to the center of the screen. Great. Let's try making, let's set the stroke, so no fill, stroke 255, and stroke weight, maybe like 10, right, for right now. That's fine. Okay, now here, let's do a point at x, y. Okay, good, that is normal. What I'll do now is I'll multiply the result of this by, let's say 10, let's say 100, at 1100. I can even make it 1000, it's fine. Okay, great. So we pretty much are done with the basic reciprocal function. So what I want to do is now, let me make this into, so if I were to do begin shape now and end shape, changing the point to a vertex as well. This you see, and let me change the stroke weight to maybe like something like 3. So you see the line that goes from the top to the bottom at the middle, right? That's because we want to split the line into 2, right? So let's do that, right? So we'll have this and this one is going to go, the second one is going for the other one. So we'll go from 0 and this should go between this should go between 0 and this, and here we'll do 1 or 0.11 or 0.1, right? Over here we will do from 0 to 1. Oh, never mind. All of this, let me just, I need to use map. And let's remove the times 1000. There we go. That makes a little bit more sense. We can do like times 10 or something. Yeah, that's fine. Great. So let me get back to where we were. So this should start at 0. Which should start at 0.1, let's say. Should go to up to 2 with divided by 2. This is 0. This is also 0. Great, so we have that set now. So let me do this one. This one should start at with divided by 2 and go up to but not including 0. There we go. So we have our 2 lines right now. Now what I want to do is great. Now what I want to do is pass 2 values to this, right? So we'll pass a numerator and an x, which is the denominator, right? There you go. So it's basically just a divide function, but it's the reciprocal if you were to put the numerator as 1, right? Great. So let me take this, and here we'll basically do a loop that goes from that I is equal to 1. I'll start it at 1 just because 0 is not really interesting to look at. It's just a line, right? 0 divided by anything is just 0, so the height is always 0. So it wouldn't be really interesting for us. We really want the visual that gets from the reciprocal. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we'll do let I is equal to 1, I is less than, let's say 25 for right now. I plus plus, there you go. And now we'll use I as the numerator when calling our reciprocal function. So I, there, you can already see it. Whoa. Sorry, where is it? There you go. Okay, great. So we'll pass I into here. There you go. So we're pretty much done. What I want, there's a couple of stuff I want to do. So the first thing I want to map, so I want to change the stroke weight. So the bigger stroke weight should be closer to the middle. So when I is really low, the stroke weight should be pretty big. So we'll map I, which goes between 1 and currently 25. We can possibly make this into a variable. But for the moment, I'm fine with what it is, just a value set in there. We can always update it if we want. So I want the stroke weight to go between, let's say, 5 and 1, right? We can even say like more than this, let's say 10 and 1, and I want to say even 0, right? I want it to really fade out into existence, out of existence. And maybe 10 is a bit much, maybe 8 would be better, maybe 4, 5 would be better. Yeah, I like 5, right? Let me lower this. I'll set a constant for the mult. Const mult equals, let's say 5, because 10, with basically this seems to adjust the spacing between, right? So 10 is a bit much, 5 is a bit little, it's not enough. Let's do here 35 as well. Oh, and this needs to change to 35 as well. There we go. So this looks good to me. Now maybe what I want to do is maybe set this to the minimum of 2, right? So that's good. So now what we can do is add back the color. So I have a color palette defined here. So config.color. So what we'll do is we'll just do here Well, it'll be based on the eyes. So we'll do the stroke will be based on eyes. So the colors at index I, well, it'll be config.color. I modulus config.colors.length. Great, and then it's going to be this.color. There we go. So now we have a random color palette being selected every time we recreate it. So there we go. That's pretty much the sketch for the thing. Hopefully you can integrate this into different plotting function, right? This is just the reciprocal function, but there's a lot more functions to plot stuff on a graph, right? So hopefully you can play with this, update it, change the colors, change the spacing, change the weight of the lines, right? Make it not lines, make it dots, right? Maybe dots would be interesting to look at. Make it something different, make it your own. That would be awesome. So thank you for watching. We were able to make it under 20 minutes, so I'm really happy with it. And let me know down in the comments below what you do with it, what could be improved. Definitely a lot of stuff, but thanks for watching. See you in the next one.